Breaking news! Destiny is being written behind the scenes. The winds are shifting in Buffalo, and the atmosphere backstage with the Bills is heating up. Something big is coming. This could be the beginning of a legendary run to eternal glory. But before we dive into this saga, smash that like button if you believe this is the year for the Bills. I'm all in. Are you? If your heart beats red, white, and blue, show it loud in the comments. Go Bills! I believe. It's draft season, and what if I told you the Buffalo Bills could walk out of the 2025 NFL Draft as the most improved team in the AFC? Or completely miss the mark and leave us wondering what just happened? Bills Mafia, we're diving into what fans are calling their dream and doomsday scenarios, and some of these takes are going to leave you yelling at your screen. This is not speculation. This is straight from the heart of the herd mentality Discord, where over 1,700 Bills fans are sounding off, and we're going to break it all down right now. Let's start with something that'll make you raise your eyebrows. Chris, one of the more level-headed voices, says he'd be pretty disappointed if the Bills used both their second-round picks, 56 and 62, to move up to picks 34 or 35. Sounds logical, right? But then you crunch the numbers and realize that combination is worth more draft capital than pick 30 itself. So we're talking about real power moves here. The question becomes, do you make a splash and move up for quality, or do you stay put and stockpile potential starters? This leads into the heart of today's buzz. There are two positions that almost every single fan in the Discord agrees must be addressed: cornerback and defensive tackle. Not just patched up, nailed down. Starters. Plug-and-play guys. The Bills need someone who can play opposite Christian Benford at CB2 and someone who can start next to Daquan Jones this year, then take over the reins in 2026. That's not just want, that's need. Now here's where it gets spicy. The name Kenneth Grant keeps coming up as the dream pick at 30. Big, athletic, disruptive, Bills fans are salivating at the idea of him anchoring our defensive front. But it's not all sunshine and Super Bowls in the making. The flip side? Drafting a safety in the first or second round. For many fans, that's their doom scenario. And why? Because it sends a message. A message that maybe the team doesn't believe in last year's second rounder, Cole Bishop, and it would mean ignoring more pressing needs at corner, D-line, or edge. Wagon Circle, another diehard, nailed it. Taking a safety early could mean one of those core defensive positions gets skipped in the premium rounds. And fans aren't buying that logic, especially when Taylor Rapp is still a serviceable starter and Cole Bishop showed promise despite a rough, injury-plagued start. There's still depth with guys like DeMar Hamlin and Cam Lewis. Bottom line, safety's not the fire we need to put out right now. Now here's a wild card. Mormon 8 comes in with a shocking dream scenario, trading James Cook on draft day. Yeah, you heard that right. The idea is to reset the running back clock, get a new guy on a rookie deal, and save some cap space. Is it bold? Absolutely. But it's not crazy. You get a fast, explosive back and keep the offense fresh. Cook is only a 50% snap player, and some argue his production benefits as much from the system as from his individual talent. Do you ride him this year, let him walk, and grab a comp pick in 2027? Or do you flip him now and retool? It's a serious debate. Then there's Junior, who's thinking practically. No names, just needs. CB2 starter, a DT who can win the job outright, a speedy WR, and a DE who's ready to shine in 2026. Makes sense. But what if we draft for the future and end up with more projects than contributors? That means Dane Jackson stays CB2, and nobody wants to bank on free agency to fill that gap. That could turn into a worst-case scenario real fast. And if you thought things couldn't get more heated, here comes Collins, punching the table for Abdul Carter. The dream? Package picks, move up, and grab a generational edge rusher. The reality? You're giving up 2 firsts and 2 seconds, minimum. That's a haul. And you better be sure, because if Carter isn't the next Von Miller, that gamble sets the franchise back years. Do you mortgage the future for 1 star? Or stay disciplined and build through depth? Sniff dropped a plan that actually made people nod. Grab Kenneth Grant or Derek Harmon at 30. Trade up with your 2 second-rounders for the best available corner, and use the rest of your picks to fill in depth. Tight end 3, kick returner, linebacker competition, explosive pass catcher. The crowd liked this one. But he also warns about the domino effect of drafting an edge rusher first. It puts you at serious risk of missing out on top talent at DT and corner. If you mess up the order, you walk away without addressing your biggest problems. Tables echoed that same worry. Using early picks on offense, WR, RB, would leave the defense gutted. And let's face it, if James Cook is still around, do you really want to add another RB in the second round? What's the plan then? For RBs on the roster? It doesn't make sense, and the fans know it. Now here's where things get fascinating. Almost everyone is locked in on defensive priorities. But when you get to that perfect balance, that's where things get fun. Pat dreams of Kenneth Grant at 30, Trey Amos at 39, and linebacker Carson Schwinger at 42. All defensive, all instant impact. But to get those picks, you're trading away the farm. And that's the debate. Do you go all in on a few elite players, or do you play the board and collect talent across the roster? Caleb had another gem. Kenneth Grant, Landon Jackson, Darian Porter, Kyle Williams. That's the kind of haul that could flip the defense overnight. You get your DT, your DE, your CB2, and a playmaking WR. Fans would love this. But Caleb's nightmare? No trades. Safety at 30, an overrated edge at 56, and a WR with character red flags at 109. That draft would tank morale, no question. Steve tossed in a curveball. What if Bosa goes down in preseason and the team waited too long on edge? Suddenly, you're scrambling with project players who aren't ready. It's a grim outlook if injuries hit before you've gotten real depth. His dream, though, a run on QBs, O-linemen, RBs, and WRs before pick 30, clearing the board for the Bills to feast on top defensive talent. And hey, there's a decent shot of that happening. Ben's approach is more strategic. Let the D-line lead at 30, then jump into the cornerback run between picks 30 and 45 with a trade up from 56. That's playing the board smart, but it depends on reading the draft right. If the cornerback run starts earlier, you're left picking scraps or overreaching. Bills Mafia, this is what it all comes down to: timing, knowing your needs, knowing where the talent cliffs are, and executing the board with precision. This draft will define the next 3 years. You miss, you're fighting to stay in the playoff hunt. You hit, you're chasing a ring. So now I want to hear from you. What's your dream scenario? What would make you scream at the TV in frustration? Are you moving up, staying put, going defense early, or shaking it up with a surprise on offense? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hash it out, Mafia style. Because let's be real, this draft isn't just about filling holes. It's about setting the tone for the post-Stefon Diggs era. It's about proving that this team can evolve without losing its edge. And it's about making sure that Josh Allen doesn't waste his prime with a supporting cast that can't match his level. And that's why the conversation around wide receiver is so electric right now. You've got fans like Tables practically pleading for defensive reinforcements, Grant or Harmon at 30, then double-dipping with guys like Savion Revel or Darian Porter at 56. And that's not just roster building. That's surgical. These are players who fit the scheme, who bring traits that translate on day one, and who can fill those glaring gaps that kept Buffalo's defense stuck in neutral last season. But then you get that doom scenario again: offense, offense, offense with your first 2 picks. You take a wideout and a running back, and suddenly, you're looking at a defense that's missing its edge rusher of the future, has no answer opposite Benford, and still has a massive void at DT when Daquan Jones leaves. That's how you turn a top 5 offense into a one-sided team that can't close games. And I get it, there's flash in drafting names like Matthew Golden or Tre'Veon Henderson. The Madden crowd, the fantasy crowd, they're all over it. But winning championships isn't about flash.